just so there's a record.
Gotcha. There it is.
There it is.
That's our cue. All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting of the special magistrate to order. If we could just stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Burns, do you want to swear in everyone?
Okay. Are there any respondents here today that you're aware of? Bert, Ed, anybody? Are there any individuals?
Yeah, we have 4 respondents here.
Okay. So if you have a case today, please stand. I won't swear everybody in, and along with staff. We'll have to come in too. And I'm assuming y'all are here for a code enforcement case here today. Can y'all also all raise your right hands? I'm swearing all the witnesses in, so your testimony will be testimony. Does everyone swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, so everyone, you've all been sworn in, so when you come up today and testify, your testimony will actually be evidentiary.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Burns. And while y'all are getting settled in here, we have a few cases coming to compliance, and let me if I'm wrong, but I believe 8.8, which is CE 24-389, 8.9, CE 24-426, CE 8.10, CE 24-572, and 8.14, CE 25-562 PR are all in compliance. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So we will not be hearing those. Those are off the agenda as of today. And then there were a couple matters I also wanted to address here before we get into the cases. 8.5 CE 24-560 is the respondent here on that case, Mr. Rhodes? That's the one you wanted to reschedule unless the respondent was here?
Yes, as far as I'm seeing, they're not here. So yeah, we can reschedule that one, just pull that off.
Okay.
I'll reserve them with a new address.
Okay. So 8.5 would be rescheduled. And then Mr. Burns, I know that 8.7 is going to be treated a little differently from the other cases. This is PR 210328.
Yes, Your Honor, we ask that it also just be noted on the record that it does say the staff is recommending issuance of an order 2. It'll actually be recommending issuance of a special order, not order 2.
Not your standard order 2, but for the particular facts of this case. Okay.
And if we can move that, I guess Ed is the respondent here for 8.7.
No, I asked him to be here when he showed up at City Hall the other day, but he said he was not going to attend.
So we can hear that one, if you don't mind, last, Your Honor.
Yeah, we'll hear that. Okay. We'll move 8.7 to the end of the agenda. And Nick, you might have to keep me on track here as I go through this. But 8.7 is going to be the last case we hear. 8.8, 8.9, 8.10, 8.14, we're not going to hear. They're in compliance. And 8.5, we're rescheduling. All right. And with that, I'll go ahead and approve the agenda with those changes if you've caught all that. Got it. Good job. I did look through the minutes, and I'll go ahead and approve those on 7.1. And that brings us to the public hearings with the first case, CE 24-265 MAN. So, Code Enforcement staff, if you'd like to proceed on that.
I'm Robert Rhodes, Code Inspector, City of Fort Walton Beach. This is case CE-24-265-MAN. This case pertains to the subject address of 103 Hummingbird Avenue Northwest. According to the tax record, the owner of said property is Kimberly R. Osorio. 161 days ago, on April 10th, 2024, the property was found in violation of gutter maintenance, section 5.07.01, subsection L, for failure to repair and maintain damaged non-functioning rain gutters. Also, maintenance general for failure to repair and maintain structures on the property, including but not limited to the damaged and deteriorated siding. On May 13th, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of violation. On June 13th, 2024, reinspection found the violations had not been corrected. On September 3rd, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of hearing. And on May 13th, May 14th, July 16th, September 3rd, and September 3rd, I should say, of 2024, photographs of the violations were taken. And as of September 18th, the property remains in violation. Progress has been made and a permit has been pulled, but it's still in violation. At this time, staff would like to enter the following exhibits into the record. Exhibit A is a case history report. Exhibit B is a list of exhibits. Exhibit C is a notice of hearing and proof of service. Exhibit D is a notice of violation and proof of service. Exhibit E is a copy of the inspector's qualifications. Exhibit F is a copy of the tax record showing the property's ownership. Exhibit G are the photographs of the violations. Staff is requesting acceptance of the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and issuance of Order 1, including the $325 administrative fee. Staff recommends 30 days time for compliance. This would make the compliance deadline on October 18th, 2024. And I will see if Ms. Osorio has any objections to the record. Ms. Osorio, do you have any objections to the document? Do you want to review them or just enter it into the record? Review them if you'd like. They're just
No, they're fine. I will point out that.
I'm going to give you a chance to come up. Let me just take these documents. I'm going to take a look at these real quick.
go ahead and show you the photos.
Yeah, please do.
Nick can change the screen over. I said she did make some pretty good progress, but most of that was on cleanup of the yard and removal of debris, cutting. She just recently pulled a permit to repair the siding. Okay, so this left picture is the kind of left front side of the house, and I believe this other one is the front of the house. This is front of the house under the front porch. You see big right down here at the bottom left center picture, there's a big chunk of siding missing there, broken pieces of siding here. There was also a nuisance case, it's still active because there's openings through the house and possible rodent intrusion. I didn't bring that because I figured if she fixes this, it'll solve that problem. So I didn't want to go too long on the compliance date for this one. The back of the house is pretty bad too, we'll be there in a minute. This fence was removed, that was part of the violation. There was a fence maintenance violation as well, but she just removed the fence. So that part's been resolved. And this is May 13th. This is what the notice is. This is the back patio area, and she also removed this deck area, so she made a lot of progress. But see the back of the house in the right picture, all the siding at the bottom, she hasn't started on that yet as far as I'm aware. And that's where a lot of the openings would let rodents and stuff get in. My concern is what she's going to get into when she does start to do the repairs, how deteriorated the framing and all that is. So this is a makeshift thing too that's gotta go on that back patio. You see a bunch of windows.
Is that like a porch or something?
It was a porch, and then they kind of enclosed it with doors and windows, just makeshift stuff that I told her wasn't going to be compliant to code finding standards. So I'll let her explain to you what she's planning to do, but that's pretty much it.
Okay.
That's what we got for you.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Rhodes. And Ms. Osorio, am I pronouncing your name right? If you could just step up to the mic and kind of explain to me what's going on from your perspective. If you got any evidence, feel free to present that as well.
So-
And I'm sorry, before you speak, I am admitting the exhibits into the record. Go ahead.
So all of the cleanup around the house that was listed has been completed. The gutters have been taken down, the deck has been taken down, the tree house has been taken down and removed. The fence, part of the fence was taken down that was damaged. There was another smaller fence along the front of the house, and that's been removed completely. I did get a contract for window replacement from Max Home.
Okay.
And I also was able to pull a permit last weekend to repair the siding.
Okay. So you've made some pretty good progress here. How many days do you think you would need to finish the project, clean it all up?
The permit is good until March 13th of 2025, and I've been doing all this work myself. I also work a full-time job and live out of town, so it's probably taken a little bit longer than if I was actually in the house. So I think the March 13th deadline of the permit's probably going to be spot on.
And Bert, how would you respond to the request for the expiration of the permit at March 13th? That's her request on the length of time to come into compliance.
Yeah, if she would agree to close any holes in, try and rodent-proof the home in the meantime. Would that be acceptable? You think you could rodent-proof it or treat it, make sure there's nothing getting in and out of it?
I
The
can
holes
try.
are.
I mean, we can possibly enter an order where that portion of the violation must be fixed within 60 days, and then the remaining violations by the expiration of the permit. Would you be okay with something like that,
Yes, sir.
Bert? And Ms. Osorio, does that sound fair to you?
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Burns, is there any problem with me entering an order?
No, and just so the record's clear in the minutes, so the rodent issue needs to be fixed within 60 days, but all other violations just by the time the permit expires.
Yeah, which is March 13th. March 13th. So
And the
however many
other-
days that is, March 13th for the remaining violations. The issues related to the siding that could result in rodent intrusion need to be completed within 60 days from today's date. And we do need to go ahead and impose the administrative fine because there was a cost to the city in bringing this prosecution. So we're going to impose that as well. But I believe that should give you ample time to hopefully fix the rodent issue. That seems like the most critical one within the next 2 months here, especially as winter's coming up. And then you've got till spring next year, essentially, to finish the rest of the issues. So I think you can do it. You think you can do that?
I'm going to give it a shot.
All right. Well, let's hope for the best. Sounds like you can do it. So that's going to be the order on that one.
In your honors, so the record's clear, what's the administrative fee for this hearing, the full 325? Is that?
Yeah, it's going to be
Okay.
the full 325 is going to be imposed. And I think anything else on that case, Mr. Rhodes?
No, sir.
Anything else from you, Ms. Osorio?
Well, I did attempt to address the potential rodent
Okay, go ahead and tell
problem.
me.
I brought in snakes.
Snakes are on the property? Okay, that's, I haven't heard that solution before, but I suppose snakes do eat rodents. So I think that the issue, though, is still, even with rodents, the rodent population possibly decreasing on the site, the violation is just the fact that they can enter the building. So the building, the structure itself needs to be sealed. That's the violation from the city's perspective.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right, thank you. You are, and I will sign an order consistent with what I pronounced here today, and Mr. Rhodes will get that to you. So just be sure to work on that siding issue first. You've got the,
And where do I pay the fine?
I'm sorry?
Where should I pay the fine?
Mr. Rhodes can you explain that to her mechanically, how they pay the
You'll be
fine?
able to pay it online. Can you give her the MGO thing real quick?
Is it the same one that I applied for the permit?
Yeah, same application, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You have it online?
All right, so that disposes of 8.1. We've got 8.2 up next. This is case CE 24-185 MAN. And if you could please proceed, Mr. Rhodes.
I'm Robert Rhodes, Code Inspector, City of Fort Walton Beach. This is case CE-24-185-MAN. This case pertains to subject address of 415 Adams Street Northwest. According to the tax record, the owner of said property is Jane Marie Pope. 196 days ago, on March 6, 2024, the property is found in violation of Maintenance General, Section 5.07.01, for failure to repair, maintain damaged and deteriorated siding on the home. On April 22, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of violation. On May 23, 2024, a reinspection of the property found the violation had not been corrected. On August 5, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of hearing. On September 10, 2024, photographs were taken of the violations, and as of September 18, 2024, the property remains in violation. I would add, progress has been made in the recent days. However, they did not pull a permit for the repairs, and she's been notified of that. At this time, staff would like to enter the following exhibits into the record. Exhibit A is a case history report. Exhibit B is a list of exhibits. Exhibit C is the notice of hearing and proof of service. Exhibit D is the notice of violation and proof of service. Exhibit E is the copy of the inspector's qualifications. Exhibit F is a copy of the tax record showing the property's ownership. And Exhibit G is the photographs of the violations. Staff is requesting acceptance of the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and issuance of the order. 1, including the $325 administrative fee. Staff recommends 30 days time for compliance of the violations. This would make the compliance deadline on October 18th, 2024. And since we do have a respondent, I will ask her if she's got any objections to the exhibit. Mrs. Pope, do you have any objections to the documents? Would you like to review them before they're entered into the record?
Well, I couldn't quite hear what you were saying, so.
Well, these are the documents, the photos, and the documents that I sent to you.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you have any objections to them being entered into the record?
No.
Okay.
All right. Let me take a look at these real quick, and I presume there's some photos you want to show me as well.
Yes, sir. Can you swap our screen in there? Okay. This first picture is it's really hard to see. Can't see much in the picture, but the chimney siding is all deteriorated, the trim and siding up there on the chimney. This was September 10th. This is September 10th. This is the front of the house. You can see the damaged trim around the window. And then this is the north side of the house, damaged and rotted siding. That has not been addressed at all, as of today. And these are both the north side of the house also. And this is the front of the house. You can see above the roof line. This, as of today, has been corrected. However, it was done without permit, so they do need to get a permit. I did take a couple of pictures this morning. Show you those to show you the progress. This is also September 10th. They had started the siding here, and they've done more as of this morning, but again, without permit. So let me escape that. And these are from this morning. You can still see the trim there is deteriorated or damaged. You see this side of the house has not been addressed. If you look closer, there's rot. You saw the other pictures. This is by the front door of the house, and you can see this piece of siding is not attached at all. They just put a sign in front of it. So it's definitely got maintenance still to be done, and she needs to get a permit. That's basically what we got for you.
Okay. I'll go ahead and accept the exhibits into the record. And Ms. Pope, if you'd like to come to the microphone, explain to me your side of the story, and if you've got any evidence you'd like to present to me, feel free.
I can't quite hear what everybody is saying, so would you
Sure.
say that again?
Yeah, sure. So I was just saying, if you could come to the microphone, tell me your side of the story, and if you've got any evidence you'd like to present, feel free to do that as well. Mr. Rhodes just showed us pictures of the siding that's the violation in this particular case. So if you want to speak to that, please feel free.
Yeah, we're working on replacing the siding. It's not completely finished yet. My job went into obscure, beginning in April, so it's taken us a while to get started. But the weather is also, someone had told me I didn't need to pull a permit, but Mr. Rhodes said I do.
Yes, definitely do.
Okay. And now you had said I have to occupy the house. If I move back into the house, can I pull that permit myself?
For an owner-occupied permit, she would have to reside in the home for a full year.
A year, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have another house in the neighborhood, so my mailing address is there.
Right.
And I split my time between the two houses.
Yeah,
So.
if you wanted to do that with pull the permit yourself, you'd have to reside in that home for a year and fill out an affidavit saying that that's what you're going to do before you could pull a permit.
Okay. Well,
Otherwise, she needs a contractor.
Right.
Otherwise, you need a contractor to pull a permit.
okay. Well, anyway, so yes, we're working on getting the siding all repaired and the window trimmed.
Okay.
I need an extension.
I understand, and I want to make sure that we give sufficient time, because I do recognize that you've made progress on this case. Mr. Rhodes, how many days were you asking for?
I just asked for the standard 30 days like we normally do for maintenance, but I'm not sure what she's going to need.
Yeah, I think you're definitely going to need more than 30 days. How many days do you think you're going to need?
Yeah, I have no idea. But, what we have done has gone, when the weather cooperates, it's gone fairly quickly. So we have the materials that, it's just a matter of getting the work done.
Let me ask, Mr. Rhodes, so for all the siding work, does all of it require a permit, or is it just that part on the roof line there that is already?
She'll need one permit to cover siding repairs, and then anything she does will be covered under that one permit.
So consistent with the last case, I think that what would be fair is to give her the life of the permit.
Well, if she had a permit, we don't know what
Yeah.
that is or when she's going to actually get an issue date on the permit.
Mm-hmm.
Permits are good for 6 months. If you wanted to give her 6 months from today, that would be the same as consistent with the last one.
That's what I'm inclined to do. So, ma'am, do you understand?
No, say that again.
So you need to pull a permit, and if you need help doing that, Mr. Rhodes or someone at the city can walk you through that process.
Okay.
Since you don't live there, it sounds like you're going to need a contractor. Is that right, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
To pull the permit for you.
Okay.
Since you should have pulled the permit already and you haven't, what I'm going to do though, I'm going to give you 6 months. A permit lasts for 6 months, so you can do work for 6 months. So I'm going to give you 6 months from today's date to finish all the work.
Okay.
And I think that should give you enough time. Now, if something comes up, what we're going to do is we're going to enter this order. So if in 6 months I see you again and you've made some progress, you're working on it, your contractor, whatever, he dipped out on you, had to hire a new one, something like that happens, you can come back here and we'll work on it again. But you got to make some progress, okay?
Okay.
As long as you do that, we'll work with you.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and enter.
Yeah, for clarification.
Yeah.
Do you want to put a separate deadline for her to pull the permit, just so she doesn't do maybe 5 months worth of work without a permit, and then come in and she's finished it, and then has an issue, maybe get a contractor?
Sure. I mean, but I guess we can in this case, because the fact that the permit's not pulled is a violation in itself, correct?
Yes, it is. Correct.
So I think we can do that. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get the contractor. I think I'll give you 1 month is fair enough to find a contractor, probably,
Okay.
to pull the permit. So 30 days from today's date to pull the permit, 6 months from today's date to get the work complete.
Okay.
And we're going to impose the administrative fine of, it's $325 as a standard rate, right, Bert?
Yes, sir.
We're going to impose that, and that is just the city's cost of having to bring this case, my time. Mr. Burns' time. Code
For this hearing,
Yes, for this hearing.
$325?
That's the standard statutory rate, correct. So, and Mr. Rhodes can explain to you how you can pay that fee as well.
Okay.
So if you got that, Nick, you got that
Yes, sir.
order there? All right, and so do you have anything else, Ms. Pope?
No.
All right, Mr. Rhodes, anything else on that particular case?
No, sir, we're good, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Said, no, we don't need anything else, thank you for coming.
Okay.
All right. So with that, we're moving right along to case 8.3. This is case CE 24-360 PR. And go ahead. Is it you, Mr. Rhodes, again?
You just say 360?
Yep.
And I believe we have a respondent for this one also, so we're doing well. Robert Rhodes, Code Inspector, City of Fort Walton Beach. This is case CE-24-360-PR. This case pertains to the subject address of 57 Cape Drive Northwest. According to the tax records, the owners of said property are Emilio and Flores Saidi Martinez. 126 days ago, on May 15th, 2024, the property was found in violation of permit required, code section 3.01.05, and Florida Building Code section 105.1 for failure to obtain required permits before commencing with construction and installation of a privacy fence structure and also a covered rear patio structure. On June 1st, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of violation. On June 11th, 2024, a reinspection of the property found the violations had not been corrected. On August 8th, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of hearing. And on May 16th, 2024, photographs of the violation were taken. And on September 18th, 2024, the property remains in violation. I would note that the fence permit has been pulled, but the rear patio structure has not yet been pulled. At this time, staff would like to enter the exhibits into the record. Exhibit A is a case history report. Exhibit B is a list of exhibits. Exhibit C is a notice of hearing and proof of service. Exhibit D is a notice of violation and proof of service. Exhibit E is a copy of the inspector's qualifications. Exhibit F is the copy of the tax record showing the property's ownership. Exhibit G are the photographs of the violations. And staff is requesting acceptance of the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and issuance of Order 1, including the $325 administrative fee. Also, staff recommends 12 days time for compliance of the violations. This would make your compliance deadline on September 30th, 2024. One additional note is the respondent has attempted to pull the permit for the rear structure, but I believe they're waiting on plans, so they may need more than 12 days. I'll let him explain that to you.
Okay.
Mr. Flores, Martinez, would you like to review the exhibits?
That's right.
You want to review the exhibits before they're entered in the record? Any objections to the documents?
Killer, everything I wrong today. I want to say anything. No.
All right. They've been very cooperative.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so this is 57 Cape Drive. Well, it's not out there yet. 57 Cape Drive on May 16th, 2024, Exhibit G. This is where I posted the notice on the door. You see on the right picture the fence there, but they do have the permit for that. And right here in the middle of the right picture, you can see this big structure sticking off the back of the house. That is what was added without permit. And you can see just the edge of it over the fence there. And then from the back angle, you can see it right here. So that's what he needs, plans for that, and then he can pull the permit. And we're just asking for the order to keep him on track.
All right. Mr. Martinez, if you'd like to step up to the microphone, explain your, that's fine,
I'll
yeah,
help him out a little bit though.
okay.
I can go over there too with him?
You can, yes.
All right, oh, okay.
And, Your Honor, you maybe want to ask a few questions to the interpreter first, I guess, to make sure he gives a good, accurate
Sure.
transcription.
And so what's your name? I understand
My
your
name is William.
William?
Yes, sir.
What's your last name?
Garcia.
Garcia, William Garcia? And you're bilingual? You speak both Spanish and English?
Yeah, I do.
And this is Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
And
He does too, you know, he does speak English. It's not as well like I am, but whatever he don't understand, I might help and out. Yeah.
Okay. So you're essentially just going to help him translate what I'm saying and what he needs to convey to me.
Okay,
That's what you're intending to do?
that's correct.
Okay. Let's see how this works. Mr. Martinez is the one with the knowledge of the case, so he's the one that really needs to testify. So to the extent you can speak yourself, I prefer to hear directly from you, Mr. Martinez, if you understand.
Ya dice que quisiera él como oírlo mejor él a usted, lo que pueda hacer, decirle pues. ¿Me entiende? Usted dígale que sí, sí, que tenemos el permiso y ya.
Okay, vamos al
You
permiso.
don't have much to say, you know.
Yeah. Okay, we try to take the permit, but in the application for making the permit, we can go in. So he said I had to take the plan for the architect or engineer. I already have this one, but I look at somebody to ¿cómo se dice para?
You want me to explain it to you better? What he trying to say?
I think I understand. You need to hire an architect or an engineer to
Yeah,
approve the
I
plans.
trying to pay somebody to take
To get the permit?
the permit, but she going to the vacation yesterday. She coming back, so we had to. I don't know if you give me more time for take the permit. I really had the plan right now.
Yeah, and I understand from Mr. Rhodes, you've been cooperative, you've been trying to work towards getting your permit.
Okay.
So, Mr. Rhodes, I think you said in the findings of fact, conclusions of law and order, you'd only ask for 12 days, but.
Yeah, that's normal for a permit, but
Yeah.
permits are different. Some permits are, you go to the counter and you get them, or, real quick. This one sounds like it's gonna take a while because of the plans. If he's at the mercy of an architect, it could take, 30 days. I don't know, without being able to speak to him real well, what they've told him.
Yeah, so have you spoken to an architect or engineer?
Well, we got the plans already. We already paid for the plans. Paid for.
Can I see?
We applied for the. There's no the one there. We applied for the permit right now, which is we should get it in maybe a week. We have to pay today, and I guess whatever the loan they're gonna take, the permit. We're just waiting on it. I mean, we just gotta apply for the permit and done. I mean, we got the architecture plans is done.
Right.
Okay.
So, and Mr. Rhodes, if you want to look at this, it does look like he's got some plans here, so he's made a lot of progress. That probably would have been the biggest holdup. So, with those plans, have you applied to the city for the permit with those plans?
Well, we're going to, like, actually, because all the plans done, all right, with the architect and all, the lady that helped us out to get the permit, she asked us for the plans, which is, we're gonna send it today to her, and she's gonna apply for the permit,
She asked for the materials. So.
It's okay, like that.
So, and Mr. Martinez, what Mr. Garcia explained to me, you understood that's what's happening here?
Yes.
Okay.
Get back to him.
You can give them back to him. I just wanted to.
Appreciate it.
Okay. So, there's been a lot of cooperation here. It sounds like really the last step is to apply to the city with those plans. Assuming the city approves it, the permit should be pulled. How long does a permit take to review?
Review shouldn't take long. Like I said, 10 days, 12 days should be enough if they submit it today.
So if you can submit it this week, you should have your permit probably by the end of September, but just in case, to build in some flexibility here, I'm going to give you 45 days, so that's a month and a half, okay?
45 días, está bien.
That's fine. Thank you.
So 45 days just to get your permit, and that should be plenty.
Should
Now,
be.
if something comes up, we can work towards a better resolution, but that should be plenty to get your permit.
Should be plenty time, no? Suficiente tiempo, no?
Yeah, that's fine.
Should be plenty time, 45 days, yeah.
Yeah, and this particular case seems like there's been a high level of cooperation. There's probably been some language issues, but I understand there's been a lot of cooperation. So I'm inclined I'm going to enter the order, but with the 45 days, but I'm going to reduce the administrative fee just because I don't typically see this level of cooperation from respondents, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to reduce the administrative fee to $200. So you will have to pay the city $200 a fee for having to bring this case. That's lower than the standard $325, okay?
¿Me
Okay.
entiende?
Que pagas $200.
Pagar $200 le va a reducir por ver
Yep.
que estamos trabajando en eso.
Yep.
We good.
Good? I think you feel that's fair? You think you can accomplish that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it, and thank you for working with the city. Mr. Rhodes, you good on that case?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We done? We done?
You're good. Yep. You can leave.
See you later, guys.
All right. So we're on 8.4 right next.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. 8.4 is case CE 24-411 PR. Mr. Rhodes, is that you again?
I'm Robert Rhodes, Code Inspector, City of Fort Walton Beach. This is case CE-24-411-PR. This case pertains to the subject address of 237 Bay Street Northwest. According to the tax records, the owners of said property are the heirs of Beatrice Bryant. 105 days ago, on June 5th, 2024, the property was found in violation of permit required, code section 3.01.05, and Florida Building Code section 105.1 for failure to obtain required permit before commencing with construction of a shed structure. On July 24th, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of violation. On August 5th, 2024, a reinspection of the property found the violations had not been corrected. On August 19th, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of hearing. And on June 5th, and July 24th of 2024, photographs of the violation was taken. On September 18th, 2024, the property remains in violation. At this time, staff would like to enter the exhibits into the record. Exhibit A is a case history report. Exhibit B is a list of exhibits. Exhibit C is a notice of hearing and proof of service. Exhibit D is a notice of violation and proof of service. Exhibit E is a copy of the inspector's qualifications. Exhibit F is a copy of the tax record showing the property's ownership. Exhibit G are the photographs of the violations. And staff is requesting acceptance of the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and issuance of Order 1, including the $325 administrative fee. Staff also recommends 12 days' time for compliance of the violations. This would make the compliance deadline on September 30th, 2024. And we have no respondents here for this case, so I'll let you enter them into the record.
Okay. Picture.
Ed, do you mind closing the door all the way? Thanks. If it will.
So this is Exhibit G, the photographs of the violations, and you can see here,
I think it's good now. Sorry.
they put a shed in the backyard, and there was no permit pulled for the shed. Let's see. This is June 5th, 2024, where I posted notice on the front door for the stop work order. And then this is June 24th. They posted notice in the yard and also the shed in the backyard. And that's what we have for you. And no respondents. I have not heard from them at all. The sign disappeared. They took it down, but somebody living there,
Right.
but no contact.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and enter the exhibits in the record. Mr. Burns, I did have one question. So here, the property owner is the heirs of Bryant Beatrice. Is there any, I understand notice was posted. Is there anything I should be aware of on this?
So when it comes down to actually being able to get like a lien against the individuals personally, it will be, there's not going to be an individual to go after. So, but we can attach potentially to the property. That'll be a concern for us when we seek a foreclosure, if we do seek a foreclosure down the line, because if there could be an heir of Ms. Bryant living on the property that could claim, homestead protection from a lien.
Right.
But at this point in time, because that is who they are listing on the tax collector's website as who to send everything to, we actually have a number of other cases that might come before you in the near future, similar situations where people have passed away and their families have never probated the estate after years. And so right now, this is sufficient because you can, there could be a tenant on the property. It's basically posting the property itself. And so your order today will have legal effect, but it might not have an individual that actually experiences the legal effect.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we will go ahead and enter the order as requested. How many days was that you requested?
It was 12 days.
12 days. So 12 days and impose a $325 administrative fine on that case. And hopefully find someone eventually to speak to on that. All right. So,
And just so you know, I think the decision to go forward on some of these is because they feel there might be an impetus if an order like this gets entered that'll spur the heirs into taking some kind of action.
yeah, I mean, hopefully that'd be best case for the heirs and for the city. So I understand that. Okay, so that disposes of 8.4. 8.5, we are rescheduling, I believe, still Bert, still
Yes,
no
sir.
respondent on that one. And just for the record, that's case CE 24560 GHD. That case is going to be rescheduled. You'll provide notice again on that case, I presume, Mr. Rhodes. And we'll see that in the future if it does not come into compliance. Okay, so that's 8.5. 8.6 is case CE 373, sorry, MAN. Mr. Rhodes, is that you again?
Yes, sir.
Robert Rhodes, Code Inspector, City of Fort Walton Beach. This is case CE-24-373-MAN. This case pertains to the subject address of 113 Kiwi Place, Northeast. According to the tax record, the owner of said property is Algie King. 127 days ago, on May 14th, 2024, the property was found in violation of Maintenance General, Section 5.07.01, for failure to repair and maintain structures on the property. The buildings must be repaired, and the following items must be repaired in accordance with all applicable codes. The front porch, fascia, and soffit boards around the house are rotted, peeling, and deteriorated, and that applies to both structures. There's two units well, actually there's 3 units on the property, but 2 of them you'll see in the pictures. It's all one parcel. And then also windows, section 5.07.01, subsection C, for failure to repair broken windows and or remove boards from boarded up windows. And then on July 1st, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of violation. On July 31st, 2024, reinspection found the violations had not been corrected. On August 23rd, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of hearing. And on September 10th, 2024, photographs of the violations were taken. And on September 18th, 2024, the property remains in violation. At this time, staff would like to enter the exhibits into the record. Exhibit A is a case history report. Exhibit B is a list of exhibits. Exhibit C is a notice of hearing and proof of service. Exhibit D is the notice of violation and proof of service. Exhibit E is a copy of the inspector's qualifications. Exhibit F is a copy of the tax record showing the property's ownership. Exhibit G are the photographs of the violations. Staff is requesting acceptance of the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and issuance of Order 1, including the $325 administrative fee. Staff also recommends 30 days' time for the compliance of the violations. This would make your compliance deadline on October 18th, 2024. And as I stated before, it's still in violation, and he has not pulled any permits. I've spoken to him several times. He's come in discussing the property, and I've met him at the property to review the structure. So he's going to need a contractor because it's an investment property, and I'll let him explain to you how much time he needs if it's more than 30 days.
Okay.
Mr. King, you review the exhibits, any objections to the documents before they get into the record? You look at them if you want to, you know what they are. Yeah. All right, we'll go ahead and put those in the record, and you can see the pictures of it.
Okay.
This is a very old structures on Kiwi, older neighborhood, that he's been nursing along for many years. But, yep, that ain't right. There you go. Okay. So this is September the 10th. You can see a little yellow building back in the left back there. This slide on the left side is units A, B, and C. Let's see, I'm confused by my own notes. Basically, it's all one parcel. The right side of this tree all the way to this tan building. And then this is the yellow building in the back. You can see the roof line is all deteriorated and falling apart, so he needs to get a contractor to fix that. And then this picture on the right side is the east end of the east structure, and it's deteriorated there. This is the front of the east structure. You can see the one window has got cardboard taped in it and a cord coming out of it. And this little thing is the front porch that needs trim work and be fixed up to code. And this is still September 10th, this different angle of the front porch. You can see over here at the right edge, the soffit has fallen a little bit. You can see a little better there. And then this is the fascia and soffit from the adjacent property looking back towards the west. And that's what it looks like from the front on that end. That's what we have for you. If you have any questions?
Okay. All right, Mr. King, if you'd like to step up to the mic. If you got any evidence, feel free to present it, or just tell me your side of the story.
No, Mr. Rose and myself, we had it confused. When he wrote 113, I'm thinking he was thinking about 111. And I had a few window panes broke out, so I replaced it then. And then he called me, what day was that?
Oh, I'm not sure.
He called me and said, you need to meet me down there, because I'm thinking one place, and I know when I did all of this. And then he shows me that right there, which I never paid attention to it. And he told me, this right here is what I was talking about. So I got to try to get it together.
Okay, so you fixed up 311, but Mr. Rhodes was talking about 313. That's the...
He was talking about 113, and I did work on 111.
113, gotcha. And you fixed up 111, the broken windows. Okay. How much time do you think you need to fix it up? We're gonna have to get a permit here, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes, sir. Get a permit for that yellow building back there, right, for the fence off.
Yeah, well, you probably get one permit. It's all on one parcel. He could probably just get a repair permit for the whole thing.
Okay, so probably a single permit.
Yeah, because he can't do work on this himself. It has to be a contractor, whether it's this stuff that's on the screen now or the yellow building. Neither one of them
it has to be a contractor to do that kind of work.
Gotcha. Have you spoken to any contractors or anyone?
Spoke to a few. They holler, well, I'm busy right now, you know.
Yeah,
So,
I understand.
but I get one. I get one some kind of way.
Okay, well, I'm kind of inclined to do what we did. I believe it was in 8.2 where we give a certain amount of time to pull the permit, and then we give 6 months from today's date to fix the violations. Is that
The amount of time seems a little excessive, but
yeah,
That's
but the
up to
permit's
you.
gonna be
I know
six.
the permit's 6 months, but that's up to you.
I'd like to keep some consistency between the
Consistency,
permit
okay.
and my ruling here.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think that might lead to some confusion. And it won't be the full length of the permit because 6 months from today's date, he's not gonna pull the permit probably for a month or so. So it
So
will
it'll
be
be
a little-
6 months from today, not.
Right, that's right,
Okay.
that's right, 6 months from today. So, Mr. King, here's what we're gonna do here, I think, is we are going to, you got 6 months from today's date to fix the violations that are on the property, but I'm gonna give you 45 days from today's date to pull your permit. So that's a month and a half basically to get your contractor, get him to submit the necessary paperwork to the city to review and approve that permit. Is that, you think that's enough time?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's enough time.
okay, so 45 days to pull the permit.
45 for permit and 6 months from today to have it all done.
That's
It'll be
right.
March 13th. That's
March
what it was
13th.
earlier anyway.
Okay, March 13th. And Nick, can you just double check on, make sure that, it doesn't have to be right now, you know, you can do it. And then we are gonna impose the $325 administrative fine, in recognition of the city's expenses in bringing this case forward.
So how much was it?
$325. And that's what the cost is to the city. It reimburses the city for my time, Mr. Burns' time, all the code enforcement staff time, coming together here today to have to hold this hearing, so.
All righty.
All right, Mr. King,
Thank you.
thank you. Next up is 8.7. Mr. Burns, did you want to go ahead?
We'll do it last because I have to switch hats for that case. So we'll
That's
do,
fine.
Ed, we'll do 8.7 last.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I
So
think
we're
the
gonna
next
do-
one's 811.
Yes, 8.11 is going to be our next case. We're in compliance. So, is that you, Ed?
All right, this is, my name's Ed Moore, Code Inspector, City of Fort Walton Beach. This is case number CE 24393PNT. This case pertains to 104 4th Avenue Southwest. According to the tax records, the owner of said property is Carrie L. Delagal. On May 23rd, 2024, the property was found in violation of Code Section 50701S, grass height, Code Section 50701B, D, G, I, and V, paint, and Code Section 50701K, roof maintenance. The grass and weeds were overgrown on the property. The exterior of the house had paint peeling flakes and was worn away, and the roof soffit and fascia was damaged and deteriorated. On July 8th, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of violation. On August 27th, 2024, reinspection of the property found the violations had not been corrected. On September 10th, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of hearing. And yesterday, on September 17th, 2024, photographs of the violations were taken. At this time, staff would like to enter the exhibits into the record. Exhibit A is a case history report. Exhibit B, list of exhibits. Exhibit C is a notice of hearing and proof of service. Exhibit D is a notice of violation and proof of service. Exhibit E is a copy of the inspector's qualifications. Exhibit F is a copy of the tax record showing the property's ownership. And Exhibit G are photographs of the violations. As of today, September 18th, 2024, the property remains in violation. Staff is requesting acceptance of findings of fact, conclusions of law, and issuance of Order 1, including the $325 administrative fee. Staff also recommends 30 days' time for compliance of the violations with a recommended compliance date of October 18th, 2024.
Okay. Is a respondent here today? No respondent. You got some photos?
The black screen, no.
What are we looking at here? Which one?
Bleep, PNT, 104 Fourth.
That, okay, 393.
393 p.m.
Couldn't find it.
Looking at the property, looking west, 104 First Avenue Southwest. House is vacant. It's been a problem property for some time. We had received word that Miss Delagol had passed, but she's alive and well in Georgia. There you can see the property's overgrown.
Have you spoken to her?
No, I've never spoken to her, but we've had people come by over the past few years that claim to be relatives, and they were interested in what they had to do with the property and to make it short that they thought it was in probate, but when I researched it, none of that turned out to be the truth. The property's vacant. As you can see, the roof and fascia and soffit are deteriorated, and that's basically the 3 violations. And they also have to paint it.
Okay. So the other relatives that you've spoken to, I mean, have they told you that Miss Delagol's alive? What's her?
Yeah,
Why do you think she's alive in Georgia?
What had happened, a gentleman showed up twice. Each time we had noticed it previously, and he had claimed to be a relative, even though he was unclear what type of relative he was, and that she had passed, and that it was in probate, and he was working to get the property in his possession. And I had given the property time for something to appear, because, you know, probate can take a while. And then when I did my research, I couldn't find anything, and I couldn't find a death certificate. So then, fortunately, Miss Delagol showed up in Georgia on the tax records.
Okay. All right. Well, Miss Delagol's not here. We could ask for a seems fair, given the history of this property. So we're going to give, is it October 12th? That was the, was it October 12th is the?
October 18th?
18th, I'm sorry, yeah, it's the 18th. So 30 days, October 18th, and impose $325 administrative fee. And that disposes of 8. Sure. Appreciate it. That disposes of 811. Hang on just a second, I'll do my notes. And that moves us on to 812. This is case CE 289 MAN. Ms. Taylor. Go ahead.
Rich Taylor, City of Fort Walton Beach, Code Enforcement. This is for case number CE 24289 MAN. The property address is 33 Choctawhatchee Road, Southeast Fort Walton Beach. According to the tax record, the owner of the property is Marie R. Rojas. 142 days ago, on April the 29th, 2024, the property was found in violation of 5.07 grass height developed, 5.04 litter, and 5.07 maintenance. On June 28th of 2024, service was obtained for the notice of violation. On July 29th, 2024, reinspection of the property found the violations had not been corrected. On August 28th, service was obtained for the notice of hearing. On 8/24 and this morning, I'm sorry, not this morning, on 8/24, photographs of the violation were taken. On September 18th, today, the property remains in violation. At this time, staff would like to enter the exhibits into the record. Exhibit A, case history report. Exhibit B, list of exhibits. Exhibit C, notice of hearing and proof of service. Exhibit D, notice of violation and proof of service. Exhibit E, copy of inspector's qualifications. Exhibit F, copy of tax record showing the property's ownership. Exhibit G, photographs of the violation. Staff is requesting acceptance of findings of fact, conclusion of law, and issuance of an Order 1, including a $325 administrative fee. Staff also recommends 30 days for compliance for the violations. This would make the compliance deadline October 18th of 2024.
Any respondent here for the?
Yes. And so I haven't had any contact about this property until Marie Rojas had tried to contact me Monday and Tuesday, but I was out of the office. I spoke to her this morning. She lives out of the country currently.
Okay.
Her daughter, Cassandra, was living at this house. She has signed for the notices that I have sent, but didn't pass the information on to Mom. And Mr. Rojas is here, Cassandra's brother.
Okay.
He was not notified either, and he lives here in town. So they just found out about this last week.
Okay.
So in that time, Mr. Rojas has visited the property, and he has cut the grass. He's removed some of the litter. The biggest thing that we have pending right now is the siding, the soffit, which I can show you in the pictures, and there's a balcony porch structure that has collapsed into the backyard. Those things are going to require permits to fix the soffit, the siding, and the balcony. Whether they build a new one or block off that door is all going to require permits.
Gotcha.
And so Mr. Rojas does have a plan, and I'll let him explain that. And so this October 18th deadline that I put is because I had no contact whatsoever with them. So
Okay.
We'll definitely work with them on the time
Sounds.
for compliance. I did show Mr. Rojas earlier all of the documents in there. Did you have any objections to any of these?
So the only objection I have towards the documents is the time frame that I was receiving these documents. I've just learned about this, and that would be the only objection I have.
I understand.
So what happened is we have another homeowner that moved, doesn't live in the house anymore, but didn't give a good forwarding address.
Okay.
So the note, I had nowhere else to send the documents but to the house, which is on the assessor's
So, I mean,
records.
you
So
complied with the statute and notice procedure. Okay. If you're ready, let me take a look at the exhibits. And you can show me some photographs while I'm looking through these. And then, Mr. Rouse, I'll let you come to the mic.
this was taken from the neighbor's yard. You can see some of the siding work, and then off to the right-hand side of the house cursor is the balcony structure that has fallen. It's overgrown, different debris still in the yard. We have a tree here on the side of the house that's grown up and has damaged the soffit and part of the roof structure. This is the front yard. This has since been mowed this weekend.
Okay.
Just more views of the front. Again, all this has been mowed and cleaned up. So the only issues now is the siding, the soffit work, and the issue with the balcony structure that has fallen.
Okay. Anything else, or ready for Mr. Rojas?
Yeah, that's all I have.
All right, appreciate it. Ms. Taylor, Mr. Rojas, come up. Got any other evidence, or if you just want to explain to me? Let me understand who you are. The owner of the house is your mother,
Yes, sir.
and so your sister is living in the house, is that?
I don't know what's going on with my sister. I don't have contact with my sister.
Okay.
Like I said, this is the first time I found out about this whole situation from my uncle. He lives relatively close to there. Let me start off by saying thank you for bringing light and notice this, because I was oblivious. And I apologize. It's quite embarrassing to see my mother's residence in the condition that it's in. I have spoken and gotten documentation from an attorney to possibly getting the property quitclaimed deed in my name and obtaining ownership of the property and taking the situation. I understand that there is a date set for the violations, and like I mentioned, this is the first that I've heard of it about a week ago. It's been torrential downpour climate this whole past week. Sunday was the first time that I've actually had an opportunity to go to the residence and do anything. Within that day, I've gotten the landscaping completely taken care of, the front and the backyard. I have pictures and videos to show you what it looks like currently. Regarding the soffit roof, that's going to take extensive work, and I'm requesting any extension as much as possible that I can receive. What else? The balcony and the litter and the debris, I've already, the balcony's already down. Like I said, I took it down. I didn't have the opportunity to remove it due to weather, but by this weekend it'll be cleaned up. The administration fee that you guys, if I'm asking if you can have leniency and waive that fee, because this is the situation that I wasn't prepared for.
Sure.
And it's not in my name currently, but I am working the process. My mom does live out of the country. She was seeking health care that she cannot receive here. So going through that whole process of getting the property in my name is an extensive process. So I'm moving forward and trying to take care of that.
Okay. I mean, it seems like as soon as a representative of the property owner became aware of the issues, there was a substantial amount of work done as soon as possible. So I certainly recognize that. Certainly going to get more time than the 30 days that's standard in the order.
I spoke with Mr. Taylor, and I mean, at minimum, if I could possibly receive the 180 days to take care of any, it's going to take a little while just to get the property in my possession, to be able to have control over the property, pull any permits or anything that's needed for repairs.
And Mr. Taylor, do you have any objection to that, given what we're seeing here today? No. Okay. So yeah, there's a permit that's going to have to be pulled, right, Mr. Taylor?
Yes,
for the soffit. Okay. So you saw what I did earlier, where I gave 45 days to pull the permit, and then 6 months, 180 days from today's date to finish the work. I think that's probably what we'll do here. You think you can get someone on the job?
To be honest with you, this is the first time I've had to confront a situation, so I don't know what to tell you on the time frame. If I'm asking for the maximum, if that's possible.
Let's give you 2 months to get the permit pulled. That should be plenty of time. So it sounds like you're getting right on it. That should be plenty of time. So 2 months permit.
Real quick, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Rich, how many permits do you think this case is going to take? Because it seems like there's siding, soffit, balcony fell. I know we had a previous case a few months back where there was a balcony removed and y'all required either the balcony be rebuilt or they closed off the back door. How many permits does he need?
So probably, I don't know if a repair can cover all of those. The three issues are the soffit, I don't know that the roof is damaged, but the soffit definitely is. And then the balcony, they're not required to have a balcony, but they have a door that opens up into the second floor, so they're gonna have to block that door off. And if they're gonna do that, then that's gonna require a permit, so 2 to 3 permits.
Okay. So this is going to take longer probably than the other cases. Thanks for bringing that up.
The problem is made worse by the owner living out of the country and getting documents signed, and it's going to take longer than what it normally would.
Yeah.
She might be able to, and not offer any advice, but she might be able to, are you in contact with your mother?
Yes, sir.
Rich, didn't y'all explain earlier that they can do a self-permit if the owner has lived there for at least a year?
Correct.
And if she's still a homesteaded, is she just out of the country getting treatments?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just a consideration, Your Honor. So.
Sure. So potentially pull the permit yourself here.
Well, I'm trying to eliminate any type of headaches and just have my mother transfer me the property so I can take full control over it.
Yeah. Okay. here's what we're gonna do, and understand that if you're making progress, we're not gonna enter the second order that would cause the lien. You might have to come back here, or you might just have to work with Rich, but as long as you're making progress, that step's not gonna happen, where the lien gets entered on the property. I think let's give you 3 months to get your permits in place, and then, let's do 180 days, but if at the end of the 180 days, maybe not all the work's done, if you've made progress, you're still working on it, just need some more time, I'll be inclined to probably give you that time, assuming you've been working towards that goal. So 3 months for the permits, 180 days for compliance. I'm inclined to reduce the administrative fee here, given the immediacy you've jumped on this and your sincerity here. So I'm going to reduce that to $150. I do think the city needs to be compensated somewhat for this action. Understand it's not you personally, it's probably some other failings in your family that result in this. So I don't know whether you'll be paying that or your mother, but $150 seems fair for this case. So $150 admin fee. Anything I'm missing on this case? Anything else from you, Mr. Rojas?
Yes, I'd like to receive any type of documentation for this case that I can. I've spoke to Mr. Taylor. He said he's going to give me a copy of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, Ms. Taylor, if you could just please work with Mr. Rojas. He seems like he's...
And I told him that as soon as the hearing is over, I'll making copies today.
Okay, that'd be great.
And I apologize. This is very embarrassing for me to be here in front of you guys and taking up time that's...
Well, we appreciate your efforts. That's seen in the admin fee that was reduced and the amount of time you're getting. So understand it happens and just need to work towards fixing it. So, all right. With that, anything else on this case, Mr. Taylor? Anything else, Mr. Rojas? No. All right. I think we're good on that case then. Appreciate that. That was 8 point. What case are we on now, Nick?
We should be on
13, that's what I thought, okay. And then we've still got 8-7 after that, right? Okay, correct. All right, so let's call case 8.13, case CE 24611 LIT, Mr. Taylor.
Rich Taylor, City of Fort Walton Beach, Code Enforcement. This is case number CE 24611 LIT. This case pertains to the subject address 33 Lorry Drive, Fort Walton Beach. According to the tax records, the owner of the property is Lance E. Brown. 42 days ago, on August 7th, 2024, the property was found in violation of litter. On August the 7th, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of violation. On August 14th, a reinspection of the property found the violation had not been corrected. On August 29th, 2024, service was obtained for the notice of hearing. On 8/15, 8/29, and this morning, photographs were taken of the violation. As of today, the property still remains a violation. At this time, staff would like to enter the exhibits into the record. Exhibit A, case history report. Exhibit B, list of exhibits. Exhibit C, notice of hearing and proof of service. Exhibit D, notice of violation and proof of service. Exhibit E, copy of inspector's qualifications. Exhibit F, copy of tax record showing property ownership. And Exhibit G, photographs of the violation. Staff is requesting acceptance of the findings and facts, conclusion of law, and issuance of an Order 1, including a $325 administrative fee. Staff also recommends 7 days for compliance, which would make the compliance deadline September 25th, 2024. There is no respondent. The problem with this address, there was a previous case for no water service, and when you don't have water service, you don't have trash service. So we still have a case with running fines for the water service, but they continue to put the trash just in bags out at the street for pickup. So what's happening is, when I sent them their initial letter, told them without water service, you have no trash service, that you need to make alternatives to get rid of the litter. But they continue to put it out. Well, it gets so bad out there, the neighbors start complaining because there's rodents in it. So I send the city sanitation over to pick it up. There is a charge for that, but right now there's no mechanism to charge it because it usually goes to the water account.
Sure.
Also, besides what they're putting out on the street, the front porch has litter, which I have pictures of, and the side carport has litter in it as well. And so approximately 2 weeks ago, I sent the city over to pick up what was remaining because it was spilling out into the street. And it's like that again today. And they're going to go pick it up again this week so the neighbors don't have to look at it.
All right. And there's no respondent on this one, so.
Correct.
All right.
The last 3 pages are pictures from this morning. They did not make it into the slides, but I'll tell you what today's date on that. So this is the front of the house. This shows my notice of violation posting. The one on the right shows the carport, all the household type items that are out in the open there. There's a bunch of buckets and chairs and things out on the front porch. This was from the 15th of August. This is about a week later. This is what I had sanitation pick up the first time because it was just spilling out into the street. Another view of the posting and the debris in the street. This is from the 29th for the notice of hearing. And then those last 3 pictures were from this morning. I highlighted the dates on those.
Okay, yeah, I took a look at those. Go ahead, admit the exhibits into the record. Anything else on this case?
No.
This case seems pretty clear cut, definitely has that litter violation, so how many days is in the order? How many days are you requesting?
I think it was 7 days to.
Yep. 7 days. All right, we'll go ahead and enter the findings of fact, conclusions of law and order, 7 days, and impose the $325 administrative fine. Anything else on that case?
No.
All right. So that disposes of 813. 814 was in compliance, but we've still got to go back to 8.7, which we'll call now. This is case PR 210328. And Mr. Burns, I understand you're going to be representing staff on this case.
Let me just do a little bit of intro to this one and take some back some of it.
You're more than welcome.
Okay, so, Your Honor, this case actually has 2 separate respondents, because I believe there were 2 separate proposed orders provided to you. Give you a little case history, though, on it. The respondent, Mr. Saravallo, who's been named as one of the parties here in this case, was named to the matter and was also subject to the March 9th, 2022 Order 1 that was entered in this case. Then apparently on August 22nd of 2023, Mr. Saravallo transferred ownership of the subject property to an entity called Sunnyside Vacations LLC. And I'm going to give you some documentation here in a minute that I believe Mr. Moore will print it up so you can go through and see all this. But and I guess Mr. Saravallo came into the City Hall a couple days ago and handed a filing of some kind called a response to the city.
Okay.
Notice that drew attention to the fact that he transferred title to the property back on August 22nd of 2023 to Sunnyside Vacations LLC. So, and he did indicate that Sunnyside Vacations LLC told him about this hearing in the letter, because he says they notified him. We did some investigation. He is an owner of Sunnyside Vacations LLC, or at least he's been representing that he's an owner of Sunnyside Vacations LLC numerous times over the last year. He has signed a notice of commencement back on March 16th of 2023 that was filed in the Okaloosa County Public Records. That does indicate that he is the owner of Sunnyside Vacations LLC. And he also signed a notice of commencement on March 8th, 2024, also indicating that he is the owner of Sunnyside Vacations LLC.
Do you want to mark these as exhibits?
We can say positive exhibit.
Okay. So the notice of commencements are going to be...
Actually, we probably should for clear record, Your Honor. So the first exhibit I handed to you, we'll call that A. That's the response letter. The second notice of commencement from 2023 will be B. And the third will be Exhibit C. Also, Mr. Saravallo, back on December...
Just really quick, Nick, do you have any like sticky notes or something so I can mark these exhibits? I just want to make sure they don't get mixed up. Or some paper clips, like a small sheet. Just one second, let me just get these.
And then on December 4th, 2023, Mr. Saravallo, on behalf of Sunnyside Vacations LLC, did file an eviction complaint on behalf of Sunnyside Vacations LLC. And in it, he did sign as the landlord / property manager. He didn't say he was the owner technically on this filing, but the next filing I'll hand you, he did. And we'll call this Exhibit D, Your Honor, complaint. Now, the exhibits to the complaint do have like leases and other documentation where Mr. Saravallo also signed on behalf of Sunnyside Vacations LLC. The next exhibit, though, is an affidavit of damages from that same case that was filed on December 14th of 2023, where Mr. Saravallo did check a box in the first paragraph saying he is the plaintiff, not the plaintiff's agent, because there were two boxes. He checked plaintiff and also signed on behalf of Sunnyside Vacations LLC. We believe he is an owner of Sunnyside Vacations LLC based upon the totality of everything, and we'll call this Exhibit E, Your Honor, this affidavit. So we do believe that they have acknowledged by that response that they filed with the city a couple days ago, they have received notice. Both Mr. Saravallo clearly has, and then he also indicated in the response that Sunnyside Vacations LLC notified him. And let me actually note that so it's clear on the record. First sentence on the response was, I was advised by the corporate entity, Sunnyside Vacations LLC, that the municipality of Fort Walton Beach is attempting to serve a notice of formal hearing on him. Well, the only way that Sunnyside Vacations LLC would have received notice is the notice that Mr. Moore will enter into the record here in a few minutes. So we do believe both Mr. Saravallo and Sunnyside Vacations LLC have received notice of today's hearing, but today's hearing, Your Honor, won't be a request for an Order 2. It actually will be pursuant to Florida Statute 120 or 162.06, which I got a courtesy copy for you.
Okay.
Which it's kind of hard to read, but I'm not going to read all this either, Your Honor, the record, but basically this says if ownership changes from commencement of a code enforcement proceeding before the final order gets entered, that the actual owner, the original owner of the property, does have some duties to both disclose to the city and to the future owner the existence of the code violation and the ongoing code action. And it does, though, require, it does have some language in here at the end of the portions I highlighted. If the property is transferred before the hearing, so that'd be either the Order 2 hearing ultimately, the proceeding shall not be dismissed, but the new owner shall be provided a reasonable period of time to correct the violation before the hearing is held. Ultimately, we're going to be asking for an order today recognizing the facts that we just stated, but then also providing Sunnyside Vacations LLC a reasonable period of time to come to compliance. Sure. And ultimately, probably at that Order 2 hearing, there will be some discussion on how to divvy up the fines as well, but that's not the issue here today because Mr. Cervallo still would be on the hook for fines that he was ordered to pay through the Order 1 back on March 9th, 2022. So that's kind of all I need to talk about, Your Honor. I know Mr. Moore can provide actual notice or enter in the notices that were provided to both Mr. Cervallo and Sunnyside, and he can also probably give some indication of what the actual violations are themselves.
Sure. Go ahead when you're ready.
Just to give you, Ed Moore, Code Inspector, City of Fort Walton Beach, just to give you a short summary of the code enforcement case, PR 210328, pertains to 215 Hudson Drive, Northwest. The owner that we had the Order 2 issued against was Cervallo Carmel J. Back on, it was in March 9th, 2022. Then the code, that was at the time the Code Enforcement Board issued the Order 1 for the permit violation, which we have some pictures too from that case. The property owner at the time had gotten a permit to install pavers on the property, at which they could not get the permit because they saturated the property with the pavers. Tim may be able to explain that in a short sentence or two. Regardless, the property was brought back on May 11th, 2022 to the Code Enforcement Board, and it was issued an Order 2 with a fine of $100 a day being imposed on the property from March 24th, 2022. He was basically given 6 months' time. Unfortunately, we didn't have a chance to record the order in the official records of Okaloosa County of the Code Enforcement Board dated May 11, 2022. And some of our cases that we had in our system, I'll make it, it's kind of hard to understand, but we had changed systems and some of the reinspection dates had dropped. So this case was still active, but it didn't show up for reinspection until we started to catch up with some of our older cases, at which time we found that we needed to do the reinspection to see the status of the property and that we had not recorded the order of May 11th, 2022. So we're bringing it back today to ask for a reissue of the Order 2 for the permit violation against 215 Hudson Drive Northwest, so that we can then...
I'll cut in there. We're actually not asking Ed today. We need to provide notice to the new owner, but that's a good background so far.
All right. And that's any pictures pretty much explain themselves. Mr. Cervallo hasn't been cooperative, and we're still not compliant as of today.
Okay. And let me let's do some work here, because I'm sure there's some exhibits in here as well. So these exhibits A through J that are in this packet, let's admit, and let's rename these K through whatever it's going to be.
Of the exhibits.
Of the exhibits that Mr. Burns provided.
So the record's clear, then my Exhibit A that I entered during my portion will be the new Exhibit K, and then everything will be sequential.
So the response letter to City of Fort Walton Beach is Exhibit K. The first notice of commencement dated April 8th, 2024, Exhibit L. The second notice of commencement dated March 16th, 2023, is Exhibit M. The complaint for eviction is Exhibit N. And the affidavit for damages in that complaint for eviction is Exhibit O. Just want to make sure the record is clear on that, given these facts here. Just a few comments, findings. Yeah. I find that Mr. Saravallo is pretty clearly an owner of Sunnyside. Whether or not Sunnyside is just simply acting as his alter ego or not, I can't say from these facts, but he's clearly, at a minimum, an owner of Sunnyside. Based on these documents, he's clearly received a notice. Sunnyside's received notice as well. There's still ongoing violations. So I understand that given the unique facts of this case, the order is not going to be our standard order. What exactly are you going to be seeking in your proposed order?
I think the administrative fee needs to be assessed jointly and severally on the two parties, but then I would believe, and I'll ask Ed if he objects to this, I do think a reasonable amount of time should be 60 days to come into compliance. So I guess the hearing's 60 days out from today's date, which, Nick, is the next set of hearings at least 60 days out?
The next hearing, I believe,
It's 30 days from now, approximately.
Or the next after that, I guess, too. So,
yeah, we're going to have a November code enforcement, given that Thanksgiving's in that time.
November 20th?
so we'll just say 60 days, Your Honor, so if they're in violation, after that, they can come in December, but I think that would be a reasonable amount of time. And then that will be when the city requests order to be entered if they have not come into compliance at that point.
Okay, and let me make those specific findings too, because I do recognize that Florida Statutes 162.06 does address similar situations or this situation pretty directly, and that when the property is transferred before the hearing, the proceeding is not dismissed, but the new owner shall be provided a reasonable period of time to correct the violation before the hearing is held, pursuant to subsection D. So we do need to provide, as Mr. Burns has stated, a reasonable amount of time. 60 days does seem reasonable in this case. There's already been ample time given. I think the same person is involved here, so 60 days seems, if anything, generous, but I think we're going to stick with 60 days and make sure that reasonable notice is provided. So that's going to be the court's pronouncement today. If you could just draft that order consistent with that. We are going to impose the $325 administrative fine jointly and severally as well.
Anything else on
No,
that?
sir.
Did we, and were those pictures, I guess, just so the record's clear, are those pictures from this currently, or are those from the 2022?
Those are all from the 2022 case visitations.
And I guess just so the record's clear, you've been back out to the property and the violation still exists?
Yes, sir. I posted the property with the notice of hearings for today's hearing, and when I posted the property, it looks pretty much the same.
And then I guess if you could just make it clear too, just because in case this has to go on appeal at a certain point in time, that's why I'm asking this. You did provide the statutory notice to both Mr. Saravallo and to Sunnyside Vacation separately, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. I think I've got what I need there, pronouncement. I think we've got the facts. The record's clear. So, Mr. Burns, I presume you'll be drafting that order? So, proposed order. Yep, we're good on that. And those other exhibits are in that, I'm not sure. So for the exhibits, Does the city keep records of those? I think especially for this case.
We'll scan them into the
Scan 'em
case
in.
file.
Okay, so the sticky note marks the exhibits that Mr. Burns introduced, so just make sure those are in as well.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty key to the finding of who owns that property and who's where.
And for the record, the next meeting will be November 20th, 2024, and that'll be 60 days from now.
Okay, perfect.
Did you have anything to add, Tim?
Yeah, if I can. Tim Gibson, Planning Supervisor for the City of Fort Walton Beach. Back in the end of August 2022, Mr. Saraballo did apply for a variance for the impervious amounts on the property. We did prepare it to go to the local planning agency for them to hear it. However, he never paid for the variance, and therefore it never actually went to the LPA. So that application is out there. It's just kind of floating right now as it was never paid for. So
Gotcha.
if
How
he does,
long ago did he apply, did you say?
this was August of 2022 was when that was applied for. So back when this was the order 2 was initially issued, in order to resolve that, that was his solution, was to go for the variance.
What code provision does he need relief from?
I'm sorry?
What code provision does he need relief from in the?
So the Land Development Code restricts R1 properties to 50% maximum impervious areas. Both the additions of the pavers in the front of the property there, as well as some additions in the rear of the property, put this well over that 50%.
Yeah, he's pretty clearly.
And that's where it's at right now.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I appreciate that. All right, I think that's the last case, right, guys? Anything else from y'all? All right, then we will go ahead and adjourn.
Good job, Shane. Send you those over.
Yeah, we have a lot of these to get through today.
Did